Jason was an 8-year-old boy who was made fun of at school for his torn-up shoes, his empty lunchbox, and his worn-out clothes. Even his teachers acted like he didn't exist. Jason grew up in a forgotten corner of Ohio. His mother, Susan, worked 3 jobs to make ends meet. She'd come home with tired eyes and blistered hands, and just enough strength to kiss Jason goodnight. Sometimes he'd ask her why they couldn't move somewhere nicer. But his mom would just hug him and say, "Wherever we are, my love is home." Jason never complained. He knew what hunger felt like, how it felt to watch other kids eat while he quietly sipped water to fill his stomach. When he was 8, his class had a field trip to a nearby farm. The fee was $15. Jason didn't have any money. And when he told his mom, she said, "I'm sorry, honey, but you know we don't have any extra money right now." Jason understood. He knew his mom's paycheck barely covered their rent and electricity, so he packed his bag without the $15. When his class returned from the trip, they were all excited, sharing stories and laughing. Jason was happy for them, but he couldn't shake off a feeling of isolation. He felt like an outsider looking in. When he showed up empty-handed, his teacher sent him home. No warning, no kindness, just embarrassment. As he left the classroom, he heard one of his teachers smirk and say loud enough for everyone to hear, "If you can't afford a field trip, you probably won't afford much else in life either." Jason didn't cry. He walked home slowly, kicking stones. But when he got home and locked the door, he let it all out. He buried his face in his pillow and cried until he fell asleep. That night, lying in the dark, he looked at the cracked ceiling above his bed and whispered, "One day, I'll own that school." Most kids would make such a promise and forget, but not Jason. He built his life around that promise. He began reading every day, not comics or magazines, real books about money, about business, about power. At 16, he was mowing lawns. At 18, cleaning diners at night. At 20, selling refurbished phones from a flea market booth. Every cent he earned, he invested. Stocks, flip homes, drop shipping. He failed often, but he learned more each time. At 24, Jason launched his first successful business, a tech repair shop. It started small, but in 3 years, he had 6 branches and a national deal with a retail chain. By 30, Jason Miller was a millionaire, but he wasn't interested in celebrating. He didn't buy a mansion or a flashy car. He had something else in mind. He found out that the building, which once housed his elementary school, had shut down due to lack of funding. Jason bought the building, cash. He walked into that building after 22 years. The hallways smelled the same. The desks were gone, but the memories weren't. He walked to the old principal's office and sat down in the very chair that once refused to help him. Then he reopened the school. But this time, things were different. Every child got free lunch, no fees. No child was ever turned away for being poor. And every classroom had a quote printed on the wall. The ones you ignore today might be the ones you answer to tomorrow. Some people from his past tried to stop by, like Mr. Jennings, his old teacher. He'd heard about the new owner of the school and decided to visit out of curiosity. Old, fragile, and limping, he didn't recognize Jason, but Jason knew who he was. "Still think I can't afford a pencil, sir?" Mr. Jennings stood silently, ashamed and humbled. Jason smiled and shook his hand. "No anger, no revenge," he said, "because real success doesn't scream. It whispers from a place of peace." Mr. Jennings nodded slowly. He understood. He finally understood. Moral: don't underestimate the quiet ones. They may seem weak, but they're actually busy building a life that will speak louder than your doubts ever could.